You're listening to the Men's Mental Health Podcast, The Man Hug.
Welcome to The Man Hug, the monthly men's mental health podcast. I'm Dean McShane.
I'm Dan Cooper.
I'm Ian Pearce-Hayes.
And I'm Conleth Kelly.
Each month we will discuss a different topic related to men's mental health, which will include a guest speaker who will discuss their own personal story. And each month we will also be showcasing an organisation or charity within the Merseyside area who work within mental health to help build your signposting skills. Hello, welcome to the Man Hug. On this episode, we are focusing on heart health because, as we know, what is good for the heart is also good for the brain. And we're joined by two of the most fantastic guests. A little later on, we're going to be joined by King OBE, who is the founder of the Oliver King Foundation, a charity that was established after the death of his 12-year-old son Oliver from a sudden cardiac arrest in 2011. Mark will be joining us to share all of the amazing work that the foundation are currently doing. Our first guest is Nick Parks, an accomplished open water swimmer whose remarkable journey back to competition after surviving a cardiac arrest has inspired many and highlighted the importance of rapid emergency response. Nick, welcome to the Man Hug.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Amazing. It's so lovely to have you here as a guest. So first off, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Nick Parks, yeah. I'm getting older day by the day. I started swimming as a very young chap, and I think my first introduction to the pool was my father with those little armbands on, supposed to keep you above the water. Well, I chucked them off, didn't I? Dived in there. Well, you don't swim, do you? You go under the water. Anyway, subsequently I found out that I got an affinity for water. So I joined the swimming club, and I very, very quickly found out that I was quite good at swimming. In fact, I'd got a competitive head. So I started competitive swimming. And again, within a very short period of time, I was winning national records. I didn't get to the Olympics. I didn't get to the Commonwealth Games. I think I was probably one of those young boys at the time who was just chucking things around. And by that, I mean, the way we were selected was probably archaic. I was very good, but I didn't perform this once, so I didn't go any further. Anyway, I always kept myself fit for many years. Triathlon came on board, and I found that I'd got a prowess in that and started doing really well. Had a couple of nasty accidents. That didn't work well. That ended my triathlon, so I went back to swimming, open water, and I found that I was at one with open water. I thought, where can this sport go? And now, when you get over 20, there's a sport called master swimming, and they're based in 5-year increments of ages. You can enter races open water, and I decided that if I was going to do this, I was going to get a professional coach, a decent coach, and the right people around me. So I did that, and I sourced an Olympic coach who, when I sat down with her, I said, look, I want to win the Europeans. If we're going to do this, we do it properly. And she said, it's going to hurt. I'd done a bit of swimming, but not back in the pool, obviously, for those years. We went to Holland, Eindhoven, the following year, and I won the European. Came out there absolutely out of the park, and I thought, where can this sport go? So, subsequent to that, my coach said, you need to go and take these people on in their own individual countries. So we went to Germany. I won the German nationals in the pool and open water. We went to, where did we go to? Spain. We went to Spain. We won the open water. I won the pool races. Came back to England, and the races here were combined of a 3, a 5 and a 2 kilometre, and they called it the Triple Crown. So I went there and I won all 3. And I thought, this is really getting serious. So we went to the World Championships, and I won the World Championships. So within a very short period of time, I'd risen from something where I didn't know what my potential was. And yes, the fitness was there. We were having nice holidays, and I was getting stronger and stronger. So we got to a point where do we take this? Do we just carry on? Is winning about it all? Is it keeping fit? That's what I thought. Until Do you want me to go on?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. So we turned up at a place called Rother Valley, and this is where the GB Nationals are held every year. Excuse me. So the Triple Crown, again, it starts off with a 5 kilometre. This day I turned up and it was going to be a celebratory day because we're coming up to 10 years. And stood on the line. The water was fantastic. It was a nice sunny morning. I was ready, and we've used this word quite a bit recently. I thought I was invincible. I thought I'd got a suit of armour on me. Dived in there, did 1 kilometre, and I'm always up with the front team. I was always in a little pod there. And the first kilometre was done great. Got to the second kilometre. Time was exactly the same as the first one. Thought, right, settled into my stroke. Third kilometre, round the buoy, bang. I went quiet, had a heart attack, drowned, and I was in cardiac arrest. So, on any organised event, they've got kayakers or the support crew that are around. And this kayaker, who was probably 50, 100 metres away from me, had noticed that I didn't go around the buoy. I was face down in the water. He got to me, and there are some little bits of my story that do make me shiver each time I say it. This day he decided to put his wetsuit on. He never puts his wetsuit on. And then told not to get out of the canoe. On this instance, he put his wetsuit on and he dived into the water. He kept my head above the water. The powerboat came to me, got me to the ramp and started CPR. By this time, I'd been dead for 20 minutes. So you can imagine the team, the professional crew that were on the pontoon were working away. They'd already organised or scrambled the Yorkshire Air Ambulance. They arrived within 6 minutes, but now you're getting into a critical point of what we call, I'm not a medic, but this is what I've gleaned, a critical point whereby damage starts occurring to the brain, the organs start closing down, the blood's not functioning, and dependent upon the person whether there's going to be a life at the end of it. So they fortunately managed to intubate, but for the people that don't understand that terminology, it's getting a pipe into the lungs. I'd swallowed so much water, they couldn't intubate me. The clock was ticking, it went past 30 minutes. So everything, when you put it on paper, states that I shouldn't be here. I am, obviously. They put me into a coma, and they subsequently found out that I got 2 blocked arteries. 2 blocked arteries. Fit as a fiddle. Nothing, no untoward signs that were leading up to this. It was a shock. So one funny little anecdote, that when I came out of the coma, which I was in for 2 days, I was walking by, a little light shined in my eye. I went through all the normal basic questions of what I've been told. Are you okay? Do you know where you are? No. Oh, you've had a bit of an issue in the lake. Did I win? I said. He's all right. Thankfully. That was just the start of it. So very quickly, we can come back to elements if you want to. I needed a double heart bypass. That didn't mean anything to me because I had no concept. I'd been put on certain things to obviously keep my mind away and the pain away. And I kept wondering, why am I twisting? Why am I getting pains in my chest here? Well, compression had been put on me and I'd got numerous broken ribs. Oh, that's why I've got a pain. So we go through and have the operation. It was a double heart bypass. And I won't go too deep into it, but they take arteries, the mammary artery and another one, and they reattach it. It's called a bypass graft. So if you can imagine a blockage in a pipe, they connect and they graft this artery to it, go around the blockage, so you have a new pipe. That was fantastic to hear. The consultant said to me one day, Nick, you'll go faster. That was something else I wanted to hear. So that was the operation, the healing process, the damage, the pain. I wasn't ready for that. The trauma that came out of it for myself, all the people who were around, my partner Mags, incalculable. I can't, to this day, wonder what they went through, the people who were stood there, the friends, the families. I'm a very positive guy. I don't do the what ifs. I am here, but I don't do the what ifs. I've been given a second chance of life. So that's really where we're up to now, dependent upon the questions you're going to ask me.
Well, I think, we often hear about physical recovery from this, but obviously we're a men's mental health podcast, so I'm just really interested in the mental and emotional recovery. What did that look like for you?
The mental and with the hospital thing, it was a really good question, because when you're lying in that bed, I have got a sense of humour, as everybody has. I was in a ward. I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't walk. I was literally not chained to the bed. And I thought, right, how are we going to get through this? I've got to accept it. So sportsmen deal with this word adversity, resilience. How do I deal with this? I could see everybody else, and I could see guys in this ward with chest operations. And dear me, it looked like somebody put an axe into them. It was a warm place. That was playing tricks with me. I just wanted the operation over and done with. So how do I cope with this? How do I deal with this? And I lay there and I thought, right, we're in this position. Just deal with each day. Let's take little steps. If I can walk 5 meters, I'll walk 5 meters. So that consultant came into who we befriended, and I kept asking questions. I want to know what's going on. He says, Nick, never seen a heart like yours. I said, what do you mean? He said, you were so fit, the capillaries on the one side of your heart, what kept you going? And I said, oh, really? So we'll go back 2 steps. You're going to have 2 new pipes in there. You'll go faster. That was a little golden nugget to me. How am I going to deal with it? How am I going to go forward? Well, if I can do that, then I can place 1 step. I'll be able to swim. My recovery and dealing with that trauma had already started, unbeknown to me. The other little nugget, it said, I want you to be able to stand up in front of people in the future and talk about your issue or trauma. I didn't regard it as a trauma then, because I was in it. I was in it. The people outside, Mags and all the other people, they could see me, what was happening, and it was obviously affecting them. It didn't affect me because I didn't know what had happened. So we come back to the reality, and I started wondering, well, what can I do and how can I go? And I think some people may have heard this, but it was a training hospital, and I overheard the staff nurse say to this one junior, just let it go. And I jumped out of bed, and I did jump out of bed, and those pipes and the alarms were going off. Staff nurse, what on earth are you doing? I said, you've just said let it go. I said, we're singing. So that little ditto of laughing, 6 other guys in this ward, if you ever get the chance, get these 6 other guys, and never happened. And we just started laughing, and do you know, that was cathartic to us all, because we couldn't change, we couldn't get out that door, but it was something to deal with in the moment. And that stayed with me. Answering your question about the trauma, the facet of coming back out of that was planting these little plans ahead of me, 1 step forward, 2 step back. But another comment which stays with me, doing nothing was not an option. I had to do something.
Yeah, unbelievable. So one common theme that we've had from men who've been on the podcast who've been through significant traumatic events is how their relationship with fear changes after that event. Is that something that you've been able to reflect on yourself?
I don't have fear. I've been dead. I know we laugh about it, but there wasn't anything leading up to it. It wasn't. I didn't see the darkness. Didn't see the light. There was no gates, no fairies or anything like that. It happened. Coming out of it, the fear that I had was being able to, will I get my life back? Will I be able to walk? Will I be able to do things? Was I going to be cognitive? Because the worst nightmare was to all the other people in the story that they'd been told from the doctors, and I really couldn't get my head around that. The fear I had was not being able to pick my life up and go forward. We still didn't know at that time whether I was going to have cognitive issues, and I still got my own company. I work Would I be able to work? Would I be able to sit in a room, 4, 5, 6 people, command and do a meeting? Fear, there was fear there. But again, doing nothing was not an option. I thought, I've got to try this. I've got to try.
Was there any sort of hesitation with getting back into the water? Was that something that you needed gradual steps, or did you just want to run and jump straight back in?
I did, but I cried.
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to get back in the pool, and if the listeners who probably take resonance with it, if you've ever got a leather jacket or tried a jacket on that's really tight for the first time, you think, oh, God, that's not good. I got into the pool, and I got my goggles on, and I just felt as if I was going to get enveloped by the water. I thought, hang on, my feet were on the floor. It wasn't as if I was going to go under, but that just squeezing, it felt massive. And so I had to really, really stand still, accept where I was, take a deep breath, and thought, come on, you're not going to drown here. I've already done that. Put my goggles on and had a few little doggy paddle, and that was it. As soon as I'd done that, yeah, I'll be honest with everybody, my goggles filled up. But we'd started again, and that was my one facet of my fear that we got over.
Oh, that's incredible. What advice would you give now that you kind of reflect on it for anyone facing sort of like major setbacks? Is there certain things that you found that helped you?
Major setbacks is, I think this is another point of being in the moment. It's really difficult to accept that, despite other people walking around you, looking after you. You've got to accept where you are and look at it and say, right, what can I do? If I can't, in my position, I couldn't lift weights. I lifted a tin of beans, and everybody will laugh about that. That's all I could lift. I couldn't walk even 15 paces, so I set little things on the living room floor. And again, they're silly. I'd put 5 paces and a box of sugars on the floor, or even to the toilet, which was just round the corner from where we were. And then I'd have a seat because I couldn't make that full distance. I knew in my own mind that if I tried that, I was going to fall. So again, we come back to little steps and being in the moment and accepting that. And I know people will try and resonate with this, but it's so hard. I wanted to get back in the pool, as you said, and I wanted to just go and knock it out of the park. I couldn't. No way could I do that.
So it's that kind of just being patient with yourself and letting recovery take its time.
Absolutely.
Really.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I'm sure my guys here have got some questions.
Just one of the things I was interested in there. So I've worked in terms of the surgical side, in terms of people with bypass. But obviously part of that is a process. One of the things is they actually come, a few days before, they have the day. So people are preparing themselves for that. They will they will have talks from the Zipper Club, all of those things. You've had none of that.
No.
And so part of it, one minute you're trying to compete in terms of where you are, go third time round, that's, the boy that you're saying there. I'm just interested that you said you were invincible, was one of the things you said. Yeah. You're a very positive person. And I've seen it, as being a nurse on that side, that there's no question, and all the research supports it, the more positive that you are in terms of whatever your adverse effect or issue affects you, you will do better in terms of recovery. And I've definitely seen that. But you can't think, oh, I know, I'll pretend to be positive, and I'm not really feeling it today. You either are or you're not really, in a sense then. So because you've had no, 1 minute you're swimming, trying to win a race, next minute, and you're thinking you're invincible and you're not. How did you, I know you touched on it a little bit in terms of that mental health, but in terms of that trauma, you've said about little steps, and obviously that competitive side of you as well, to sort of do that. But just mentally, how have you, just interested in how you've managed to, because you were invincible, now you're not?
Yeah. Really interesting. You hit the nail on the head. So the 2 little points. When I was recovered, I was taken originally to Rotherham Hospital, and then from your perspective, they worked me up, ready to go forward for the operation at Sheffield General, which is a short distance away. Excuse me. When I was in Rotherham, I woke up, and that's obviously where they found things. The consultant came in and he said, you do realise, what's happened. I said, no. He drew diagrams, and answering your question, I've got some very dear friends who I swim with, similar sense of humour, and I've got an affinity for ducks. So the one came in, and these children's ducks with little babies on there, he bought them. They were next to my bed, and other people bought ducks, and I always put them in a line. There's a little ditto to it. So a consultant came in on your question and said, say you've got your ducks in a line, Nick, in a row. And I said, yeah. He says, that's quite significant. He says, you're very positive. I said, well, I am. I'm in this bed. I can't go anywhere. I said, but they align with my way of thinking. I said, if I'm in your hands and you found this, I'm going to be all right. Exactly what you've just said. And he said, do you know what? He says, if you can carry on like that, he said, you'll get through the next few weeks. And again, I use these little nuggets. I held on to those because I was alone. I was drugged up, and there were things that I was trying to get my head around. I was in a mental mush, for want of a better word, because I really didn't understand. I didn't understand as much as it being given to me. I thought they were just going to go in and put a stent in. A stent is something that goes into the artery and it balloons up. I didn't envisage being broken open and the pain and everything else that was going to happen. So that mental torture, for want of a better word, explanation, was something that I was trying to manage on a daily basis. And when we got to the general hospital, the invincible word, I won't say that came back. That had been chipped away at the edge. I was there, but I was ready. And I was treating it the same as not as a race, but I was sitting, compartmentalising my bits, how many days to go, how am I doing? Right, I'm okay, we're doing this. And I was being relaxed. I just said, bring it on. And when we went into to get the anaesthetics, the guys, we heard your story, Nick, are you not nervous? No. If I've got through that, then I'm in a position now. So the mental side of it, I think athletes do pull through things like that, and I held on to that. Lots of other people, my darling missus, etc., and everybody was saying slow down. I said I'm absolutely fine. I was probably paddling like a duck inside.
I suppose being an elite sportsman, you're constantly planning for the next race, the next competition. So in your mind, you always sort of planning the next stage of your recovery, whether that be that's what it sounds like from what you just said, that mental or physical, and they would have gone sort of hand in hand and intrinsically together, wouldn't they? I just can't get over a 20-minute downtime before they started CPR for a further 10 minutes before that's unbelievable.
The CPR was going. So I'd been dead for 20. The CPR was going, but I'd been dead for 20.
So the kayaker got to you and started compressions in the water?
No, they got me onto the boat, then got me onto the pontoon, then they started CPR.
Yeah.
But I was clinically
dead
for 20
because they haven't got output. Yeah. But I mean.
When you talk to clinicians, doctors, etc., I shouldn't be here. I should have brain cognitive issues, probably kidneys, organs would have failed, lactic acid, etc. But they come back to the fact that I was so fit. I train 6 days a week. I do live a healthy lifestyle, even healthier now. I thought it was healthy at the time. Honestly, yeah. I still have the little tipple, but we shop by, I think I said it to the other day, we shop by the traffic light system. Anything that's got red in, I say to my missus, not having. Just a little bit, no, I'm sorry, I've gone the other. So I have changed. So yes, it's little bits and just stripping it back and taking it small chunks. Otherwise, there's no way I would have carried on.
It's listening to the warning signs, isn't it? So you lived a healthy lifestyle. You exercised every day, yet you still had those coronary arteries that were blocked. So even with your lifestyle, nobody's infallible to heart disease, are they?
I think it's a fantastic point to key into. I didn't think of it. I mean, we sat around having a cup of coffee, unless it's somebody in your circle. We've seen the footballers on the pitch and heard, some comedians, etc., who've had it. But when you talk about your general friends, there's not that knowledge there. There's not the awareness. And, you know, so that leads me on really to banging the drum and making sure people are their friends. If they get 30s, 40s, well, why aren't you getting yourself checked? You should do. You know, you've probably been desk bound for 20 years. Now, all of a sudden, oh, yeah, I'm going to do the London Marathon. Well, shouldn't you go and get yourself checked? No, I'll be all right. A&E's just round the corner waiting for you. Yeah.
Just ask one thing is
Yeah.
that part of the research I've done for this episode is around near-death experience. You haven't had that. You've had a death experience, literally. You know, you think of it that way. But I'm sorry to tell you, it's not all about you.
Is it not?
No.
You want to speak as well?
No, it's what I'm suggesting is those family, those loved ones of yours who've also gone through that period, that thing. And there, as you said there earlier, you touched on, you were just like, they're saying, oh, shouldn't you sit down a bit? Has there been a support for them? You know, has the services been supportive for them? You know, the NHS and things like this, but what support networks or have there been for?
Do you know what? This is another part of my story, hence why I'm being given fantastic opportunities like this to talk with you guys and the listeners. Support work is very, very limited. And what we found, my dear partner, I think she went into, there's a fight or flight scenario. She closed down.
Yeah.
And lots of other people, I'll answer your question, it's not all about me, there's a lot of people. You made your point. There were loads of people there on that day, families, children, and we call it the ripple effect. I'm not aware of that, but I know there's a ripple effect. With my friends who I swim with, I could see on their faces, wow, Nick, you're still here. I could see the ripple effect on Facebook, Instagram, my friends going wide. And I could see the ripple effect on the air ambulance crew and the people who we met thereafter. Mags and my dear friends, there was nothing there. I was kicked out of hospital politely, in a fit state, otherwise they wouldn't have released me, with tablets, and you've got to crack on. The health services, we all know, is absolutely under so much stress. And the swimming world is fantastic. So I put something out, can you help me to do some exercise? I didn't know what exercise to do. I didn't know how much I could do. And there were cardiologists coming back to me. There were physios. Oh, right, Nick, you can do this. And I said, well, what about Mags? Oh, the CBT. Right. Okay, she tried that. That didn't work. Went to the doctor. Oh, there's a waiting list of like a year and a half. Right, I need it now. Right, well, you'll have to wait. So we were watching videos, literally videos on YouTube to try and source this. You know, guys, women from Afghanistan, PTSD. It's hidden. Lots of people mask it, don't know what it is, carry on in the day-to-day. PTSD is a recurring issue. So people coming out of my trauma, as you say, on the periphery and how they deal with it. I'm very, very active of going up to people and saying, how do you feel about me now? You know, if you want to ask me something, they don't know what to ask. They think I'm going to be offended. I'm the one banging the drum and standing up here and saying, it is about me at the moment. Yeah. But I want other people to be able to open up and talk. And I think this is one thing I really, really want to hammer, you know, talking to people and being given the opportunity to say, I've got an issue, help me. Yeah. And I think if somebody can put their hand out, irrespective of what we're talking about, cardiac arrest, the word trauma on the periphery, that can help children, it can help parents, it can help far-reaching people further afield. Yeah. Excellent question.
Yeah, it's such a good point, isn't it? Because, as you say, that ripple effect, the impact of this is huge on everyone, really. One thing I wanted to touch on is, obviously, we've got Mark King coming onto the podcast, who has been, I want to say, banging on the government's door since 2012 about, CPR training in all schools and defibs in places where they should be, where there's groups of people and things. What's kind of your big wish for this, you know, in terms of what the government need to be doing?
I want, I agree with them on that wholeheartedly. We're from North Yorkshire, It's probably very, very similar, aligned to Liverpool, shipbuilding, etc. There, you've got, it's common knowledge, a less affluent area. The money's not there. The communities, I want to see people learn CPR. All the kids in the schools should learn how to do this. But then getting out into the communities and the sports clubs and parents, I'm very, very passionate about this because it's something that people should be trained how to do. They should understand how to use a defib. It's a box. It will lead you through it. You're not going to blow anybody up. And I'm making light of that. But CPR, on a daily basis, I have people come to talk to me and say, Nick, so-and-so, he was in the woods. Didn't know this person. So-and-so, he's fallen off his bike. All right, there was a passerby. If that person doesn't do CPR, wow, what are the consequences? And it's so your question to me about what's my stance on this, CPR training, awareness, defib, let's get them into companies as well and get employees. I'm still working. I know that sounds hard, but I'm still working. And the clients that I work with, I want every person in that company to learn CPR, not just allocated to the first aider, because the day the first aider has something, holiday or whatever, the delivery driver comes at the back, drops a box, etc. First aider's not here. Oh, now what are you going to do? You can't just ring the ambulance. They're not there to do that every 5 minutes. So that's my stance on that. And hopefully, throughout this process, raise some awareness, raise some money for certainly the air ambulances, whatever area you are. We'll probably come on to that. And the other charities that support the co-survivors outside of the NHS. If we can take the pressure off that, then I think I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, definitely. It's massively needed, isn't it? And I think it is people's lived experience and stories that are going to make this change as well, Yeah, amazing. I believe we've got to talk about Loch Ness now as well, so tell us all about that. What's going on there?
It's a big chunk of water, apparently.
Yeah, I believe someone's swimming it.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, we did say it would be a laugh, didn't we? So, the guy who politely broke my ribs has remained friends. I don't know why, but
felt sorry for you.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So no, we aligned with each other, and every year since then we have a meal at Christmas time. And I said this time, right, 2026, we should raise some money for something and do something different. I don't want to swim the channel because I'm not putting it down. Everybody swims the channel. There's a boat there. It's warm water. There's a current that gives you a kick up the backside, whatever. He says Loch Ness. So we both said, what about Loch Ness? I know it's big. I know it's dark. I know it's deep. Yeah, I know, Nick. But in terms of media coverage and what you're trying to do, it's way up there.
It is, yeah.
So stupidly, I said, yeah, why not? Thinking we would just have a little boat. It'd be Leon, my friend, my missus, a medic, and somebody who can feed me. That was the idea, rubber dinghy, whatever. We've now got a cruiser. We've got 14 people on the boat. We've got a film crew behind me who want to film my story. We've got 2 medics on the boat. We've got a team of ratifiers because apparently I'm the first stupidest cardiac arrest survivor to swim Loch Ness. Wow. And apparently there's only about 20 other people done it. So I thought, why not?
Oh, so when are you doing this now?
31st of August.
31st of August. Wow, that's so inspirational.
Just saying, I've kayaked across it, for charity.
That was a cross.
Across it?
No, the length of it. Did that, whatever. Swimming, sorry.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So obviously we want people to donate and sponsor you. How can they do this?
They can go onto my website, nickparks.co.uk, and they can donate via that. Or if there's a company out there who feels that they are warming to my story, this is coming out of my pocket. So if we segment this project, there's a funding side of which obviously key funders from any project that needs to be kicked off. needs that to be able to do it. The fundraising is what we're doing with the general public. And if somebody feels that they would like to get involved with the filming of it and the media, this film, we will be putting it forward for some awards because my lovely film crew think that it's all about me.
I really got the knife in there. I like it now.
Brutal. You think it's nice because you got that Irish accent.
I milked it last night, but that's another story. We will talk about that one, will we?
Do you know what? One of the things that you've said, I think it's absolutely inspirational story.
Thank you.
And just talking about it, but I just think, going back to that, one, you were super fit.
Yeah.
The cold in terms of the temperature of the water has obviously played a factor, but it's also the fact that the chap who was keeping an eye wore a wetsuit, whether it was an intuitive thing, guesswork, but the fact that people around you, the chap that you're still in contact with, who broke your ribs doing the chest compressions, all of those, and that's why I think it's important to your story because of the amazing, experience that you've absolutely articulated. But it's to get people being able skill to do that defib because. And CPR, because for me that's the lifesaver, and it's not to lose sight for that. So however many defibs, and they are brilliant, it's people having the confidence, but to see the results. As you said, you shouldn't be here, and the fact that you are is testament, one, as I said, to all those factors, but it's to get people, and it's anyone can do it, and it's having that confidence and that keeping the skills up to date that will really make a difference for people. So that for me is definitely part of your story as well. So well done for sharing your story, an amazing experience, but it's why we are social animals, and we need to be able to look after each other and support each other when we need it in those adverse instances like you. I mean, it doesn't get as adverse as you've had there, but it just shows what's possible. Absolutely amazing. So
just jumping back on that one, we were talking to some nurses this morning, and the more I talk about this, I realise how precise that was. It's sometimes called the chain of survival. And however you want to look at this, if you want to write down a piece of paper or put those links were there. The kayaker saw me. He put a wetsuit on. Okay, may not, but he was there. The boat got to me. They started compression, and that compression was 100% effective. And whoever's listened to this, please go, and however good you think you are, go and get a mannequin and do CPR for half an hour. You will be shocked by the exertion that it takes out of your body. It becomes a marathon in terms of effort. It has to be done correctly because, as we were talking this morning, if you just do it fast, those compressions are wasted. If there are two people, it's got to be by the second that other person takes over. You can't say, do you want a breather? 5 seconds. It has to be continuous, because if it doesn't, what's happening is the damage is happening to the brain. I'm not a medic. This is what I've gleaned from it. You're absolutely right. So the fact that they did that, and then the air ambulance came within 6 minutes, and they were effective. So that chain was precise. So you're well picked up. I think you're absolutely right. It has to be effective.
But you're testament to all of that as well. You just, in terms of your astuteness, I mean, probably only your partner and very close friends would know if there's any differences, but I just think you're so astute, and it's just amazing to see. So, testament to that.
Yeah. That's nice.
Was that your first time in a helicopter? What a shame if it was.
I'm going to burst your bubble.
Helicopter pilot.
Please.
It was my helicopter. No, they didn't put me in it because I was so bad. What happened? They arrived there. The helicopter crew, when you go by land, stay with you. They do not leave that patient. You or theirs, vice versa. And Tammy stayed with me on there, didn't she? All the way through to hospital, bless her. Yeah. There's still moments, that they get me because, she went far beyond what is normal, and she's become a dear friend as well. And I wanted to know the ins and outs of that day. So lost my train of thought now. You've got me. Thank you. Well done. On to you. So no, it wasn't my helicopter. Oh, yes, that's right. So because I was so bad, they put me in the ambulance, and I don't know whether this was my body reacting to whatever they'd put in me. They had to take me back out the ambulance, and there was no way they were going to put me in the heli. So I was transported by road, but the heli crew stay with me through to the hospital.
Oh, incredible. And Nick, your story, it's we've been running this for 3 years, but I don't think I've got goosebumps so many times.
Well, I
it's
do.
Incredible, amazing. But carry on the amazing work of the awareness and telling your story, because as you say, it's a simple thing we can do is just go and train in basic CPR and life support, but it saves lives, doesn't it?
It
Incredible. Good luck with your swim.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll all get behind you and sponsor you. I'll get Dan's the rich one. I'll get him to get his card out in a minute. But yeah, amazing. But yeah, good luck with everything else that you're doing as well. It's amazing. And once again, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
No, it's lovely. I think anybody who wants to get in touch, I've got a massive circle of positive people around me, and it just finishing my bit off. Whatever the trauma or circumstances, surround yourself with positive people.
Yeah, brilliant advice.
Please don't give in, take little steps and try again. I came back from ground zero, and I mean ground zero. Within a year I got back racing. Not saying everybody needs to be racing. That year I was a member of a team. We broke the British record. I was the fastest in the team and the oldest. The year after, we went to Spain. I won 4 national records, nearly broke 2 records in the pool. This year, a few weeks ago, I won the 1500 nationally. So I do pinch myself. The medals aren't it. My journey and where I am is what I enjoy. I don't put the hammer down. I'm not an idiot. There is something on my shoulder going, do we really need to put the hammer down? No, I don't. I enjoy it, and I enjoy talking, and thank you very much for
we'll carry on enjoying it all. Amazing, Nick. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Men's Mental Health Podcast, The Man Hug.
Okay, it's this part of the Man Hug when me, Conleth, Dan and Ian discuss this month's theme. So I think it's worth reflecting on a strong connection between heart health and mental health. We often think of physical and mental well-being as being separate, but they are closely linked. When we're experiencing stress, anxiety, grief or prolonged emotional pressure, it can have a real impact on our physical health, including our heart. Equally, a serious physical health event can affect confidence, well-being, relationships and mental resilience. So the connection between heart health and mental health isn't just psychological, it is biological. Neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine and noradrenaline help regulate our mood, stress levels and resilience, while also influencing heart rate, blood pressure and cardiovascular function. So it means that looking after our mental well-being is also an important part of looking after our heart. Both of our guests today have experienced the life-changing impact of cardiac events from different perspectives. Their stories remind us that recovery isn't just about the body, it's also about the mind. Support, connection, resilience, and the willingness to ask for help all play a vital role in overcoming challenges. So today's an opportunity to explore not only the importance of heart health, CPR awareness and prevention, but also how we look after ourselves and each other during difficult times. The conversation is ultimately about survival, resilience, hope, and the positive difference that individuals can make in the lives of others. We've discussed exercise a lot on the Man Hug, but exercise is often described as nature's antidepressant. And when we exercise, our brains release chemicals that improve mood, motivation, and resilience. And at the same time, exercise strengthens the heart. It lowers blood pressure, and it helps the body cope better with stress. It's one of the clearest examples of how physical health and mental health are deeply connected. Conleth.
I've kind of taken a little skew on this, and because I've actually had colleagues who've actually experience issues regarding heart health, whatever, but it's also the issue regarding near-death experiences as well. So it's a knock-on effect that can actually have from that. And it can be both positive and negative with regards to it. But obviously, these experiences can actually have a significant impact upon your mental health, often leading to profound, lasting personality shifts. While survivors actually frequently report positive changes, like a reduced fear of death and heightened compassion, the stark contrast between their transcendent experience and ordinary life can actually cause confusion, isolation, trauma, and also related distress as well. And the thing is, you got to think of as well, family and friends may actually find it difficult to actually understand the issues maybe with heart, with maybe heart health, heart experiences, near-death experiences as well. And the individual's new beliefs and behaviours. So there can be many, the families like, with they may have many new attitudes and beliefs, and they are actually so different to those actually around them as well. So there's difficulty maybe reconciling the new attitudes and beliefs of the expectations that the family and friends can interfere with maintaining old roles and lifestyles which may no longer have the same meaning. Near-death experiences may find it impossible. The experiencers may actually find it impossible to communicate to others the meaning of the new impacts of the what they've actually experienced upon their lives. So whenever it comes to these things, you've got positive effects and negative effects, and I'm actually going to skew the positive effects as well, the impact of those as well. So positive effects can be permanently, dramatically alter the individual's experiencers' attitudes, beliefs and values. And the literature on the after effects of near-death experience has actually focused on the beneficial and personal transformations that often follow. Recent review of research into the characteristics of these experiences found that most commonly reported the loss of fear of death, strengthened belief in death, life after death, maybe feeling especially favoured by God or a higher deity or anything with regards to that, a new sense of purpose, mission, heightened self-esteem, all these things, self-compassion, love for others as well. But this can also then have that negative effect, because I do know of two colleagues in particular where basically their loved ones actually, one was given a terminal diagnosis and one also had that near-death experience, and it's just like they just switched off. They just went, no, it's okay, I'll just do whatever I want to do, that's life, whatever. Had this negative effect then upon their partners, these colleagues of mine. So the stress that they went through, they went under, whilst also maybe trying to not mollycoddle, but actually looked after the loved ones as well. Some of the negative effects, as we quite understand, is the feeling of the stress if the near-death experience actually conflicts with their previous held beliefs and attitudes, and the emphasis in the popular media on the positive benefits of near-death experiences inhibits those who are having problems for seeking help. Sometimes people who have actually had these experiences may doubt their sanity, yet they're often afraid of rejection or ridicule if they discuss this fear with friends and professionals. Sounds very familiar. Sometimes near-death experiences actually do receive negative reactions from professionals when they describe these experiences, and also can eventually discourage them from seeking further understanding their experiences. Okay, who's next? Dan?
Let me go today, mate.
Yeah. Birthday, Dan.
I get to go third today. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some facts and figures. I'm taking up Conleth's mantle there. So, National Institute for Clinical Excellence suggests that, which is one of the main go-to places in healthcare for professionals to sort of look at guidelines and things like that. But they suggest that only 7 to 8% of people who have an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest will survive through to hospital discharge. So, extremely low percentage of all cardiac arrests that occur managing to actually survive the initial cardiac arrest, but then obviously the ongoing recovery and that sort of post-cardiac arrest time period. And the main reasons for this is that, as we're going to be talking about later on, the delayed CPR and the delay of the use of defibrillation. So we know what we need to do to try and get that percentage up. We know what we need to do. We need to get more people trained with CPR. We need to get more people having access to defibrillators, and that's hopefully what we're going to be talking about with Mark after. So if we can defib somebody within 3 to 5 minutes, then that can increase that survival rate to 50 to 70%. That's a massive, massive difference, isn't it? With each 1 minute delay, you're decreasing that person's chance of survival by 10%. So if you don't get to that person and start CPR or defib them within 5 minutes, then the massive, massive chance that they're not going to survive, isn't it? Less than 2% of people have an AED or automated external defib deployed to them, or they've had it attached to them before the paramedics arrive. Further, suggesting that we need people to not only know how to use them, but know where to find them and know what to do when they've taken the thing out of the box. And generally, it just talks you through everything you need to do. So that's really important that we improve those figures as well. Just as a comparison, in-hospital cardiac arrest survival rates are 15 to 25%. And there's multiple reasons for that as well, because generally you'll see someone's deterioration. A lot of time in out of hospital, it's a sudden cardiac arrest, so you've not got that sort of pre-warning sign of monitoring their observations or having healthcare professionals around them, or the doctors just seen them that morning and thought, well, they're not great. And you don't have the equipment to hand as well. So, that's probably the key reasons for that. Another key thing with regards to cardiac arrest is if it's a shockable rhythm, then you can get that early shock in, then that increases the chances of survival as well by up to 50%. Going on to the mental health side of things, we talked recently about PTSD. So after a cardiac arrest, I think it's 1/3 of people will experience post-traumatic stress after a cardiac arrest, and it's almost that, how come I've been spared? I know Conleth has been talking about this, and the flashbacks to that moment of blackout and almost the guilt of the, they've managed to survive and others don't. When we worked on intensive care, a lot of patients that came in would be post cardiac arrest. Ian would have probably sent them up to me after he'd seen them in A&E and managed to fix them. And then they may be ventilated for a number of days, but when we start weaning them off the vent and the obviously sedation, when they start coming round, their mood would generally be very, very low, and by the time we send them off the unit back into the ward, there's a lot of support needed there. And one of the things we used to do is to write a patient diary. So whilst they're unconscious, we are writing everything that we're doing with them and sort of explaining to them, what's happened and how they're doing, how they're improving, and it just gives them more of an insight into how they're, how they've what's been going on whilst they've been unconscious, and can help them rationalise what's happened to them, which hopefully is aimed to help their mental health. And I say, other studies suggest that up to 50% of people who've had a cardiac arrest, they then go on to suffer with depression at some point. Something that's been in the news a lot recently, and we're talking about cardiac arrest and sudden cardiac arrest. A lot of people in this really hot weather are going out in cold water swimming. It's so dangerous. People don't realise that sudden drop in temperature from being, walking around and it's say 30, 34 degrees to go into cold water. It increases that heart rate, increases the blood pressure significantly, puts a lot of stress on the cardiovascular system, which can then lead on to obviously the heart going into almost, I suppose, spasm, if you like, and the cardiac arrest occurring. So just I know I sound like an old man now, but being aware that you're sorry, I'm 40. Yeah, Ian just mouthed to me that I am 45 now. I suppose one last takeaway thing from me is, if somebody collapses in front of you and there is an AED available, don't be scared to use it, because it will talk you through everything, and it will explain on the box how to apply the pads, and it will talk you through if that is a shockable rhythm or not, and it'll tell you when to press the buttons. It'll tell you everything you need to do. But if you wanted to know more about resuscitation and how to use a defib, then get some training, get some basic life support training, get your CPR skills up to date, more confident, and get used to what an AED is, because then we can save lives. Okay.
I guess in the last 30, 40 years, what we've seen in terms of a change, you're talking about defibrillators, is the technological changes, but also in healthcare. If you had a heart attack in the 80s, and you survived it, firstly, you'd be in hospital for 6 weeks. You'd then be on bed rest. You'd have a cigarette ashtray on top of your cabinet at the side. And if you didn't smoke, you'd be that bored, you'd probably would smoke at the end of it. That's the 80s. It's a big change. Now, if you have a heart attack, you're in and out within up to 24, 48 hours. The treatment has changed in terms of stents, in terms of cardiac arrest generally. There's been a big sea change in terms of how we manage and treat that. What we still don't do is that training, and I'm sure our next guest from the Oliver King Foundation will talk about that, because that's, you know, his experience in terms of Mark from that organisation. Will talk about his son's experience or lack of experience in terms of that defibrillation and why it's so important. I think I've spent, you know, for over 30 years as a nurse, and what always makes me laugh, my best job was as a cardiac nurse for 12 years in A&E, and I always look back, when I told my mum I was going to be a nurse, she nearly fainted. She said, and part of it was she was shocked because I fainted getting blood taken. You know, I virtually collapsed on the doctor. So she could not believe I was so squeamish. And for me, what that says is I've become squeamish again, interestingly, now that I've retired. But what's interesting, it's training. And if I could work in that acute phase and be part of a skilled team, and in terms of number of cardiac arrests, being prompt and being skillful in terms of that response, anyone can do it. So I know in terms of being a teacher and teaching my son, you know, and kids in schools and stuff, you can see how they can develop. It is training and it's learning. So I think that's really key, I think, in terms not just the technological changes that we've seen, but part of it and what I've learned in terms of nursing and what I think we bring in terms of the Manhug podcast is that therapeutic use of self and being able to be trained. Inside you may be panicky and worried and asking questions, but you have a skill and are able to be relaxed so that you're not panicking the people who need that help and support on the other side. And I think that's really important for me. So I've learned that. And I think, you know, one of the things in terms of, for me, I always think that I've learned, I think the Manhug and that the mental health side and what Dean said at the start about that physical health and mental health, they go hand in hand. It's unquestioned in terms of people recovering from heart attacks or, you know, any physical ailment. There is a physical part of that that's just so important. And the thing when I always used to teach about the heart, that, you know, it's the same, isn't it? You go on a plane and they say, if in the event of turbulence or any problems, you know, the oxygen mask will drop down. What do they tell you to do? Is to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, because you need to be able to look after, if you're with family, you know, people panicky, then you need to be able to look after yourself first. And it's the same with the heart. You know, one of the things that Mark mentioned there was about how greedy the brain is in terms of oxygenation and that's in the blood from the heart. 25% of the blood goes to the kidneys. You know, where body is greedy, the brain is greedy, every organ is greedy in wanting that blood. Where does it go first? The coronary arteries, the heart itself. So that's the key thing, isn't it? That I think in terms of that physical health, we need to look after ourselves as part of it, because if we're not able to do that, how can we look after anyone else? So it is that. And I think in terms of that physical and mental health, it is that. That's what I've learned, that you need to look after yourself in terms of your physical health, but also your mental health in terms of them being able to be supportive. And it's about being kind, but it's listening and all of those things that come in it. But you really need to look after yourself to be able to, you know, be part of a functioning yourself, but as part of that general community and family.
Thanks, Ian. So next up, we're going to be joined by Mark King from the Oliver King Foundation.
You're listening to the Men's Mental Health Podcast, The Manhug.
Okay, it's this part of the Manhug now when we shine a spotlight on a charity or organisation doing great work in the community. And with the theme being heart health this month, we've just the perfect guest here with us. Mark, welcome to the Man Hug.
Good morning, everybody.
Amazing. So first off, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Mark King, OBE.
OBE, yeah.
Right? I'm founder of the Oliver King Foundation. We founded the foundation in 2012 after I lost my beautiful 12-year-old son, Oliver, in March 2011. It's a sad or sudden arithmetic death syndrome. And that's where the electrical side of your heart switches off like a light switch.
Oh, gosh. So tell us about Oliver.
He was a great child.
Yeah.
He was a sportsman. He was just, he was perfect.
Yeah.
He was perfect, and he was caring and understanding at that young age, and I knew he was going to be something there. He loved sport. The King David that he went to, the school, they're like a music school. But in his year, they had proper kids that could play football, and I'm like, with me being a level 2 coach, I was into the school going, look, I'll donate to football kids, get them into the schools, championship, you know, I'll coach them. Anyway, they agreed. I was always buzzing and all that with kids, and we got them through, and they won it the first time I've asked him at Goodison Park, which he was a mad Evertonian. I'd only had childhood with Everton, Liverpool, Blackburn, Bolton, Man City, Man United. He played in the same Saturday team as Trent Alexander-Arnold. So Trent went to Liverpool and Arnold went to Everton. I mean, the rest is history with Trent. You know, he's brilliant. And his mum is a patron. His mum died is a patron to the foundation, so we're still in contact that way. And you know, the people that we've met, the things that we've done in Arnold's name, you know, we've got 3 main aims in the foundation, and one is to bring awareness out of this condition, SADS, because a lot of people don't know what you're talking about when you're talking about SADS.
So just for anyone who doesn't, just kind of how do you define that to people, what it is?
So what we do is when we go round, we explain SADS, and it can be picked up by an easy 12-pad ECG test. And that is what we're pushing now for to get legislation that whenever you see a fire extinguisher in a public building, have a defib above it. And people, the relevant amount of people trained in it, because there's a grey area with the defibs. And like, as soon as you open the lid, they will speak to you and direct you on what to do. But not everyone is as confident as everybody else. Do you know? And I mean, I'm sure everyone in this room and everyone that's listening to this podcast, if they went down with a cardiac arrest, they'd want the nearest person standing next to them to be down there doing CPR and realising that that person's not breathing. And this is what we're trying to educate the country with.
Incredible. So yourself, you know, it's such a powerful story. How did you find the strength to transform, you know, this unimaginable loss into, you know, the mission that's now saving lives?
There was 2 ways that the family looked at it. We could draw the curtains and just hide behind the door, or we can push them curtains across and come out fighting. That's what we decided to do. And it's been hard. It doesn't get any easier, to be fair. You just learn to contain you know, your passion. Because sometimes you can just release it and people go, what's Rosanna Ben doing? You won't speak to him again. So you learn to contain it and let it go when you need to. And that's what we found. I mean, as I said earlier, the people that we've met, the places that we've been, you know, in our story booklet there, since 2012, since we started, we as a foundation have placed over 7,000 defibrillators out. I've delivered every one of them personally. I've been as far north as Stornoway, as far south as Portsmouth. We were out yesterday in Birmingham. So we've trained over 175,000 people into the use of them. But you know what? We've saved 94 lives. The youngest life being 4 years of age.
That's amazing.
Honestly. And when you get them emails through of the parents, it just drives you on. Let's just keep going. Let's keep going, because we're doing something right and we're saving lives, and that's what we founded the foundation for. I've been through 7 prime ministers, well, 6 prime ministers actually. I'm about to start with 7.
Coming up for your 7.
Big Andy Burnham, boom the room. And you know, they want to meet you, then they cancel, and they don't want to meet you, and then, you know, David Cameron was in charge of us when I first started this. So we wrote to Cameron and we said, look, we want legislation. We want to catch up with every other country. We're 20 years behind, at least. We're losing 19 young lives per week across our country to this. And it's got to stop. In this day and age, technology that we've gotten, It's just got to stop. So, you know, our aim was to put a dent in that, to bring to the forefront of what's happening to our children and what we want from government. So Cameron wrote back to us and he said, look, we'll have a parliamentary debate. I thought, great, this is going to work. And then he wrote back again saying, but you need to get 100,000 signatures on an e-petition before that happens. Then we'll go in the main chamber and we'll have a debate. So all the ministers will be there, all the MPs, and we'll have a vote. So I'm thinking, well, they're all fathers, they're all grandfathers, they've got family. You know, God forbid anything happens to their family, it'll be done tomorrow. So we're all in good spirits. We're flying around. We asked the British Heart Foundation, not even to knock any organisation, by the way, we asked British Heart Foundation, they wouldn't help us. Ambulance service wouldn't help us. No, because we were a young foundation, a young charity, and people are a bit wary about giving the full backup. So you've got to earn that. So I said, Sam, we'll get out there and we'll earn it. And that's what we've done. So we, as I say, Cameron said, go and get your 100,000 signatures on an e-petition. We were struggling at 80. Then all the big boys come in, British Heart Foundation, SADS, CRY, all them. Do you want to sign them 80,000? Do you want to sign them 80,000 signatures over to us and we'll get you over the line? But you've got to say that it's ours. So I'm going, you want me to sell my Ollie to you for 80,000 signatures? Not a chance. I wasn't that nice actually on the phone. It was a bit blue. So they were told, no thank you. We got all our volunteers in. We restructured and we went out. We finished with 160,000 signatures on our e-petition, and it was absolutely brilliant. We celebrated it in the King David school in the hall when we were counting all the signatures up, and it was a milestone for us. And I'm thinking, we're getting this. We're going to get this. So we wrote to Cameron and he said, oh, Mark, you can't have the main chamber, but you can have Westminster Hall. And Westminster Hall, anyone of your listeners, anyone in this room, if they want to debate with Parliament, they can phone up and book Westminster Hall now. They don't have to go out and get 100,000 signatures on an e-petition. So what was playing about with my head is, how many lives have we lost needlessly while this government are messing about? So that inspires you more to go again. So they're only stoking my fire up. So I'm out there again. I said, okay, we'll have to take Westminster Hall. But in the meantime, what we done was, we wrote to every MP. It got us a bit of time, so we spun it in a little minute. Wrote to every MP, asking them to support us. We had cross-party support of 250 MPs by the time our debate came up. And we were up against Anna Soubry. She was the health minister at the time. If you're listening to this, Anna, I don't really want to knock you, but I'm going to have to. It was like talking to this tabletop. We wrote to her, wouldn't meet us. We emailed her, nothing back. We phoned her, because we were up against her in like 3 months for this debate. So I thought, how am I going to get your attention? So we got everyone in that was concerned, all the trustees, and we came up with a plan. And the plan was that we start another, another action plan. And the action plan was called Whose Shoes Are These? So it was a picture in a football dressing room, and there's one uniform left and all the other kids have gone because that child had had a cardiac arrest and passed away. A school hall, one seat left when all the kids have gone, a pair of shoes left here. And I thought that was powerful. So we had all the pull-ups done, we had all the leaflets done, and Anna Soubry's constituency was Nottingham. So I thought, I'm not even going to phone her and tell her I'm coming because she'll just get off. So all MPs have got to be in their constituencies on a Friday to see the constituents. So I thought, Friday's the day then. So I put a shout out for all the parents to bring all the shoes to Camp Hill, for all the kids that we were saying. 2 days into that shout out, I got a phone call from Dave Woods, our chairman, and he went, Kingy, what are you up to? Always up to something with the kids, you know what I mean? So he said, there's about 2,000 pairs of shoes here on Camp Hill. And where have the parents put them? Outside the shipping container. What's in the shipping container? The posts, the nets, the balls, everything to coach them kids. He said, the kids are paying for your blood. I said, listen, easy sorted. Tell the kids to get a handful of shoes, move them from A to B. Tell them it's a new warm-up exercise in 1 minute. So it gets there and he goes, what are you up to? So I said, look, this is the plan. He said, great. great. I said, I've got, on Friday, I said 4 or 5 cars, we're going to load all the shoes up, and we're going to drive down to Anasubi's constituency in Nottingham. So away we went. Gets outside the door, and she's got big glass windows. So I'm ringing the bell. We had a plan B, we had a letter for her in case she wouldn't meet us. Ringing the bell, and she stuck her head in the window. And I'm going, Annie, come here. No, she wouldn't come down. So next thing, she's on the phone. So I said to all our volunteers, she's phoning the police there. Let's get the shoes out. Don't just dump them. Don't put them in pairs if you can. But put them out with spaces so she knows and she can read the pull-ups. And we'll post a few leaflets. Maybe the penny will drop before we meet her. Anyway, next thing, policeman pulls up. Who's in charge here? I said, I am, sir. He said, what's your name? I said, my name's Mark King. He said, all right, what are you doing? So I told him, he went, you know what? Great idea.
Here's my shoes. Here's my shoes.
Great idea. Yeah, your boots there, mate. So he goes, oh, look, I'm on another call. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I don't want to see you here. I said, thank you. And away he went. So she's got a face like thunder because we're still putting the shoes out. And I'm like, this with this letter. Still haven't gone. Oh, please, it wasn't nothing ungracious to it. It wasn't slagging it off. It was just foamy. Let's have a meeting before the debate. Let's talk as parents. Take your political head off. She's got 2 daughters, Annie, and they both attended Nottingham University. Her eldest daughter is playing badminton with her best mate. Her best mate has a cardiac arrest and dies in front of her.
You're shitting me.
Honestly, 100% true. So it's closer to home than what Anna's saying. And it's like us, we've got kids. I know what I'm like with our Ollie and our Ben. If they come home and they're upset, I'm like, whose house have we got to go and knock on? Who's upset you? What's happened? Let's go and sort it out. So you can't tell me as a mum, she's not given a hug, a big man hug, and said to her, what's happened? Why are you this upset? I'm in a Coronation Street on, oh, your fish fingers are burning? Nah, you get them, don't you, and make sure they're safe. That's what we do as parents. So I thought, she can't be that cold. So posted the letter, asked her to meet us, did nothing. Before you know where you're at, the morning of the debate is on. Andy Burnham, Steve Rotherham, representing us. And plus the cross-party MPs that were dropping in through the debate, 3-hour debate. So I'm standing there. I thought, I'll get there early and I'll get her before she goes in. Nah, she was well in there before I got there. And there's only one way in and one way out to Westminster Hall. Big outdoors like Hogwarts it is. So we're standing outside. And all the MPs are going in, we can't go until they're all seated and ready for us. And you know when you look through the crowd, and you're looking through the crowd, and your eyes get fixed on someone, and you go, he's looking for me, and this fella was right on my trajectory, he was coming towards me. And he goes, Mr. King? I said, yes, sir. And he had his dicky on, and he had his wing-collared shirt, his 3-piece suit, his penguin tail at the back, 3/4 length short, his stockings pulled up, highly polished shoes, gold buckle, and a sword. And I'm looking at him, and he goes, I'm the Sergeant of Arms. He said, this is what happens when you go in the room with your volunteers. You cannot have an input in this 3-hour debate. You can text questions to your representatives, Andy Burnham, Steve Rotherham, and they can ask you questions. I said, okay, no problem. And then I looked at him and went, so we've got to be quiet for 3 hours? He went, yeah. I said, mate, I'm a Scouser. I cannot be quiet for 3 seconds. If I've got something up here, it just comes out. And that's the way, there's no filter. I'll just say what I think. So he said, look, if that happens, you're gone. So I'm thinking, okay, this is about our Ollie today. And it's about 160,000 people that took the time in supporting us. And it's about these 250 cross-party MPs. It's not about Mark King, it's about our Ollie. So we had to shut up. It was hard, so shut up. The outcome of the debate was we review it in 12 months' time. That was 2014. I'm still waiting for the review. So imagine just saying, okay, sound, they're on it. You know, I've got a pair of scissors to cut through this red tape. What can they do to me? My heart's broken. What are they going to say? You going to jail? Go on then. I'm not bothered. Nothing bothers me. But getting over the line with this. And that's the way it is. And every time we get an email to say, defibs have been used and it saved a life, it's just, it's like you have the same feeling as the first time. It doesn't change. And it drives you on to go further forward. So when we get this centre of Robbo we're going to have a testing centre and we're going to bring the kids. It's like they do in Italy.
Yeah.
So I went to school with a particular lord. I won't mention his name because he put the knife in my back, and I mentioned this to him, and he said, Mark, we'll go to Italy and we'll get all the information, collate it and bring it back, and we'll do one in this country. I said, Sam, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, I haven't heard of him. Go phone him. Where was he? Italy. On his jack. Getting all the information himself. And he come down and done a presentation in the House of Lords. This is what we need to do in our country. Nothing mentioned about the Oliver King Foundation. Nothing mentioned about working in partnership with us. Nothing. He only lives around the corner from me. I haven't seen him in the bagel shop for a while. But I will bump into him. And give him a piece of my mind. So you can worry about other people. And if people don't buy into what you're trying to do, not buy in as such, but don't get on as what you're trying to do and help you, you can't persuade them because you're wasting energy on them. Yeah. You've got to go and keep going forward to the people that want to work with you and want to help you. Forget them. They will come in time. It's like when you started work with when we started this, I thought there's no better people to work with than the ambulance service. The community team that should be doing this. So I contacted them and they went, yeah, we'll work with you. So my mate is a paramedic. So we had a meeting with the ambulance service in OBE University, up the road from ours. So brought all the people that were getting involved, all Ollie's friends, parents, they were all wanting to get involved. And we had a meeting. Before that meeting, my mate said to me, Mark, the ambulance service have got 200 defibrillators locked up in their offices in Belmont Grove. So when they change the ambulances, they stick them. So they take the defibs out and now instead of getting them out into the communities and going and training people, they just sit on them in their offices. So I thought, okay, that's in the bank. So the meeting was going well. Yeah, we'll work with you. Yes, we'll come down to schools. And as I said earlier, I thought there's no better people to work with than the ambulance service and the green uniforms, the lifesaving. Yeah. You know what I mean? Organisation. So I said to them just before the end of the meeting, because we agreed that they should come round and train. And I said, look, I know it's not a never-ending pit. You put your hand in and pull a defib out. We will put dinners on. We will do events. We will replenish as much as we can. We don't get no government funding. We just march on. So that was agreed. And I went, oh, just one question before you go. So she says, yes, Mark, how can we help? I said, what about these 200 defibs you've got locked up in Belmont Grove? Oh, they said, they looked at each other and they were looking at each other to say, how does he? No, nah. So, well, he said, well, 180 we've got. We'll give a few out. I said, so give them to me then. Let's get the other 180 out. Let's march on. They done 5 schools with us and said, you're working too fast for us, we can't work with you. So imagine waiting for them again. I wouldn't be this far. So you just go, thanks, see you later. Gone. Gone. But at every turn, they were there. Have you registered these defibs? Yeah, we have, yeah. Because you used to have to register them with the ambulance trust. All the ambulance trusts around the country where you go. And so if anyone phoned up, someone was having a cardiac arrest, the first thing you do is phone the ambulance service. The ambulance service say, where are you? Yeah, there's a defib 100 yards down the road. And we'll stay on the phone and we'll talk you through it if you're not defib savvy. So, okay, great. So we've made sure that all our defibs were registered with the right ambulance services. Then the British Heart Foundation go to the government and go, you know what? We need a national database for all these defibs, you know. And it's going to cost £4 million. You got £4 million. All they done was got someone to phone all the ambulance trusts, send all your information over, and then put it on a big database. £4 million. Imagine, I can't get £4 off them. So again, you can argue till you're blue in the face with people, but...
So just asking, you said about the defibs and things like that, you know, because a lot of my stuff, my work is around palliative care and the like and things like that, and people donate, which is absolutely fantastic, syringe drivers, things like that. It's not the cost of syringe driver the cost is the issue, it's the maintenance, things like that. So how do you... So
there's no maintenance on a defib.
Right, okay.
Okay? You'll have 5 years on your battery and 5 years on your pads. That's the only... If you use them before that, obviously you've got to replace them.
Yeah,
but if they're not used, that's your only cost. They're self-testing. So about 3 o'clock in the morning when we're just getting in, they go through a test. to make sure everything's okay. And then if there's a problem, it gives out a high-pitched squeal. Where's my missus when I come home late on a Friday night? So, you're on the phone straight away, Mark, this defib. So, as I said, we put 7,000 out. We've only ever changed one. And this is a funny story, this, because we went into a special needs school and we put it in. And I walk around with all the head teachers and say, look, it'd be ideal here, centralise, because you've got 4 minutes to use one. Chances of survival drop then by 80%.
Yeah,
you know, it's this part of your body that's greedy, your brain. This part is well oxygenised. So, walk around and say, yeah, put it there, child-friendly height, because you don't want it to be just a child in the school, and a teacher shouts to the kids to go and get the defib. Next thing, there's a chair out, isn't there? They're on the chair trying to get it. They're falling, cracking their head, you've got 2 on your hands. So it's a child-friendly height, no problem. Okay, Mark. So he listened to me, this teacher, and he put it at a child-friendly height. About 2 weeks after me delivering it to him, he's on the phone. Mark, the kids about the defib. I'll pay for a new one. Calm down. I'll be there in 1 minute. So goes in, unboxes one, gets it all rescue ready as we do, and took it to the school. He met me on the car park, panicking. He was as white as a sheet. I said, don't worry about it. I'll sort it. We have solutions, not problems. So we went in the office. Please believe me, it was in bits on the floor. In bits. I said, what happened? He said, one of the kids got it off the hook. Got it off the hook. Threw it at his mate. His mate threw it back at him. He played footy with it for a minute, and I come round the corner. Honestly, it was in bits. I'm laughing. I'm just laughing, because there's nothing else you can do. So all I've done was I flipped it over, and I changed the serial numbers. And then I phoned the manufacturers. Said, I just unboxed the defib here. It's had a post office test. Here's the serial number.
I'm going to shake your hand.
Check it up. Send me a new one, please. And they sent me a new one. So again, you know, it's just we're not there to like make the job hard. We're there to make it easy for people to get on board and come on this journey with me.
Amazing.
And that's it.
One thing that's screaming out for a question from me, really, we've had so many incredible campaigners over the last few years on this podcast, like yourself, and I suppose like the emotional weight and the toil of constantly campaigning and fighting against governments and things like that. What do you do for your own sort of your mental health? How do you sort of look after yourself?
Just get on the Budweiser.
Yeah,
it's easy.
We don't advise that.
No. What I do is, I mean, I enjoy walking with the dog. We've got a crazy cockapoo, Oscar. He's on the back page there. He comes to events with us. There he is when we walk through. And like, we get him out as much as we can. I like the Lake District. What I find myself doing when I'm out that way is checking all the phone boxes when you see a defib. I'm over. C159X, opening it up. Where's the batteries? Where's the pads? What's the name of the person who's looking after this? On the phone, so we've only got 2 weeks left on these pads, but it's just the way it is. And you never switch off. Really. My phone's always on, and it just keeps going. People just phone, and you can't say no to people. You've just got to get out and help them because they're so happy. I mean, there's a story in our story booklet, and this was the first donation to a family that we've done, and we got a phone call, and it was a Friday night. So we just come into the pub, and the lads are there. There's a pint on the bar. I put my phone down. Just went to put my pints up. My phone started ringing, so I'm going phone, pint. So I picked my phone up. And there was a woman called Emma on the end of the phone, and you know when you get upset and you're like, your wind goes. She was like that on the phone, so I calmed her down and said, what's up, Em? She said, I got a son, Woody. You've been diagnosed with long QT. I need a defib, can't afford one. I said, listen, it's Friday night. I'm an Everton fan, so if Everton wins Saturday, you won't see me Sunday. So take it you're going to see me Sunday. I said, I'll be at your house at 12 o'clock on Sunday. She said, will you? I said, yeah. I said, I'll bring Annie, which is the doll. I'll bring our training defib, and I'll bring a live unit that the foundation is going to donate to you and your Woody. She said, really, Mark? I went, yeah. I said, okay, she said, okay, not a problem. Sunday morning, we set off, gets down to her house. And I said to her, there's 3 things I need from you. I said, I need as many family and friends as can fit in your house, and we'll train them. because Woody 9 times out of 10 will be with his mates if something happens. So they need to recognise what's happened and act swiftly. She said, okay. I said, family and friends, get there. So she said, okay. She said, well, what's the next one, Mark? I said, well, because it's Sunday at 3 o'clock, I want a roast beef dinner. So she agreed. She said, all right. She said, what's the last one? I said, Peaky Blinders are on 9 o'clock. I need to be on the road by 6. So she agreed to me on scrupulous demands. So we drove down and we saw the family. And, you know, I'll never take that out of our story booklet. It changes the our story booklet a bit like as we go along, but I'll keep that story in because it was the first one that we donated. Yeah. You know, giving it over to them people who were panicking because they got told by the hospital, and that's what got me involved with Alder and the Royal Brompton. People have the same things. You know, people forget that like there is hardship out there. You know, we might be safe with our families and we can provide all that, but not everyone can. And it costs nothing to be nice and help. I remember, I mean, you spoke about mental health there. I remember when it started going on about people's mental health and you should ask people, and there was a campaign on the telly, just asking people, are they all right? So in Liverpool, are you all right? Is like you're all right, mate. It's just a thing that we say, isn't it? So I'm up at Taggart Avenue, get my bagels one morning. This fella sitting on the wall, and you could see he'd been on the bend, he'd been out all night. He was done in. So I was get my bagels, I'll pull around, see if he's okay. I got my bagels, pulled them round. I said, you all right, mate? Jumps off the wall, starts out front. Yeah, don't I look all right? No, that's why I'm stopping. Are you all right? Anyway, calmed them down and ended up taking them home, dropping them off. But it's just what you got to do, isn't it? And you can't give up.
It just reminds me, I know it's a completely different thing. Whenever I come running into work in the morning, like, run along the prom, and there was one time I saw this fella, like, you know, what time was it? We were getting to the ferry, it was maybe about 6:45 or 7:45, 6:30 in the morning, whatever. He's sitting there drinking beer at that time in the morning, like, you know, what, you all right, man? Like, good. Yeah, I just finished my night shift. Like, all right. That's fine, thank you.
But you've asked. You never know, do you?
Well, there was a fella about 5 years ago getting off the train at Lime Street. And he gets off the train at 8 o'clock. But he started stumbling. He was going into cardiac arrest. And people were walking around him, thinking they might be on the edge. Until he went over, and someone shouted for the defib. We got them there on Lime Street and on the station. So,
in terms of the Oliver King Foundation, and so obviously you guys train people in CPR and look to provide defibrillators for groups, organisations, and places like this. So how can people get involved? If people want to donate or fundraise.
You can just email in at info at the Oliver King Foundation. I only have one girl in the office, Becky.
Becky, she's fabulous.
And I need her there because how busy we are. No one takes a wage out. There's no 250 grand chairman's bills and all that caper. We're self-funding, and the money that comes in goes out. So we work with Rainbow Restorations, and they're a fire and flood company, and they've been absolutely fantastic with us. So I went to a golf day with them the other day, and they raised $5 grand. And I said, listen, we do this with everyone. We don't take your money. If you raise enough for a defib, then you choose where the defib goes. And we'll go and train. Doesn't matter where it is, one end of the country or the other, we'll go. We'll phone them up, we'll arrange a date, we'll train 12 people into the use of it, and we'll drop the defib off. The defibs have got an 8-year guarantee. And like, that's the way it is. And as I say, we only ever changed one, and that was that. Unfortunate situation that we managed to get ourselves out of.
What's the cost of one defib again? Sorry.
So a defib is 1,100 quid. Because we're a charity, there's no VAT. It's just £1,100.
I mean, what's interesting, I think, for that is that, you think on every floor that we hear there's a defib. Moorfield Station, which I've just come from, there's a defib. The supermarkets, there's a defib. So that public access defibrillation is a there are defibs there. The key thing, and you touched on it already, is that training. And that for me is really and that's the frustration that I could sense obviously from yourself. It's actually them being geared. They'll do it in a Scouse accent in terms of the language. They're telling you what to do. I go to a cycling cafe, I cycle into Wales. I've asked them, they've got a defib actually outside the shop, and they've used it 3 times, and they've told me they've been trained by Welsh Ambulance, and they've used it successfully 3 times. So I just think in a few years, anyone can do it. I'm passionate about this in terms of, you know, I can remember my son at all levels at school, when he was in primary school, going into the school, and all the kids there, and I went through it with my son in terms of basic life support. They were brilliant. They were the most enthusiastic kids, but they were physically able to do it and stuff as well. So it should be, it's not in the national curriculum, it's the choice of a school, but it should be that, you know, good citizenship, it's that part of that community, that if the life skills, everyone should be trained. It's something like the actual, in terms of cardiac arrest and what's called an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, the survival is between 10 and 20% of people. Yeah. And partly of that is because people just don't know what to do. And it's that whole thing. And in that, if you have that training in terms of then knowing what to do, then you can act. Because as you said there, you said about that, the time, it's that absolutely of the essence. If you waited a few minutes, it's then going to be too late. You've got to get in there straight away. And I think that's where the resource is. So, you know, you mentioned all the organisations. Everyone should do it. It should just be part of, we are social animals. We're part of a community. Yeah. I know from my experience that, you know, what to do in those situations is absolutely vital to actually saving people's lives, and particularly, obviously, for your son and for young people. And I can remember a lad who got hit by a cricket ball in his sternum, and he died. And part of the thing in terms of the schools and knock-on effects, it traumatised the whole people that had seen and witnessed that, because they didn't know what to do. Exactly. And I just think, my God, you know, surely it can happen to anyone. You know, I'm not trying to be a scaremonger, but it can. And it's being prepared and training and it be updating. I also think then when, you know, Conleth said about that, and he's right about the end of life, if you've got that discussion in terms of that training, then it's an easier argument and discussion to have then in terms, because you know what's involved in terms of that basic life support. You know, when I first came into nursing, the defibs were massive. You wouldn't have been able to get them. We've now got the technology. You know, there was great big hulking machines that you virtually had to wind up to shoot a massive. Where now they're just in crackers and stuff like that, aren't they? They are totally portable. So that's the change. We need to change with it so that we are confident in using them. And I know it's a scary situation, but it is. It's that training. And my experience, if you can teach kids, which I've done, you can see how they can take it on board. We can do it, and it's just that political will that needs to change. You
just got to break that wall down and just get everyone involved, and you know, come and listen, and come and look, come and have a go, and say. When we go and train staff, when we're travelling around in schools and that, you go into the room, you say good morning, they're all like, because they're about to be trained in a life-saving bit of kit. After they've had the training, or an hour in, you get invited to mitzvahs, to retreats, to 21st, to Christmas parties, because they're relaxed, and that fear's gone. And that's all the training is, taking the fear factor out of using that, knowing what's going to happen when you open that lid, knowing.
But I've had the same, like, you know, with fellow clocks. Of course, just started COVID, it was in the supermarket. Like, you know, and fortunately I had the gloves and all the stuff with me, so I had to go and sort them all out. And the staff were just standing with their hand in their pockets, like standing over me. I goes, can you go and get the defib? And I went, oh. I went, get the effing defib now. Like, you know, and fortunately, we didn't need it. But they had this reluctance to actually even go and get it. And these were people who were employed, who walked past this thing all the freaking time.
So one of our trainers, his sons teaches CPR and the use of defib in the hospitals.
There you go.
And you think, wow, shouldn't they know?
Yeah.
But it could be a ward of administrators or cleaners. Everyone should need to know.
So when we go to the schools, they're not caretakers anymore, they're site managers. So we get the site manager because they're in that school more than anyone. And we make a stipulation that they get trained. And why we've done that is, we were doing a school, very early days, on the Wirral. And I bought an old black cab and I wrapped it the Oliver King Foundation. And we used to go everywhere in it till it blew up. And then we used to take it to the schools and park it on the playground so the kids could come out and play in it and this, that and the other while we were training. Pulls up to the school gates in Wirral, in Hoyley. Got buzzed in. Caretaker come out. What are you doing this morning? I said, we're training defib. Oh, I think you're putting too much pressure on these teachers, blah, blah. Too much EpiPens, this, that, the other, now defibs. And he just went on with himself. I said, listen, shush now. Just go on this course. And when I come back to do the presentation and to give the certificates out to the teachers so the kids know who to go to, if there's any emergencies, you'll thank me and shake my hand. Anyway, he never went on it. So when I came back, there he is. Man. Shush. Goes in, presented the defib, spoke to the head teacher and went. 2 weeks later, he had a cardiac arrest. Defib was used on him.
Wow.
Honestly.
Wow.
Honestly, that's a true story.
I think that sums up the importance of it.
Yeah,
doesn't it, really?
that's it.
Our Ollie had a genetic condition, and this is why we're losing so many kids. It's a genetic condition. I've got the gene. I give it to my Ollie and my Ben. My Ollie had the gene and the condition. The worst thing you can do is swim. He was swimming on the morning, then he had his cardiac arrest. I was in work, I dropped him off in school. It started off like a normal morning. He got up at 7, went and got my other son Ben, and we all piled in the bed for our family stuck up before we got up. And he told me about the mischief he got up to the day before. He was always excited to get to school because he loved his mates. And 7:30, chaos, shirt signed, shoes polished, packed, lunch done, sports bag packed, homework bag packed, breakfast, and away we went. So on the way to school, our Ollie's such a dizzy daydream, and he said, Dad, I forgot my football subs, and I'm like, what a time to wind him up, just before he goes in. I said, I haven't got any money on me, mate. He said, you know what, Dad, it's all right. There's Saul Woods, there's Taylor Moss, there's James Galloway. I'll get £1 each off them and you can pay them back tomorrow. Can I? Yeah. And he went off into school, I went to work. And then 12 o'clock that day, I got a phone call from Isabella, who's the school secretary. And said, Mark, Oliver's had a seizure and he's on his way to Underhay. He was always getting into football, scrapes and sport and scrapes and coming home. And I just said to the lads, I said, I always had another bloody accident. He's gone to Underhay, I'll go and get him, I'll keep him off for the rest of the day. And we'll have a McDonald's. And we weren't prepared for the devastation. So I get in there and you know, next door is a police station. And goes in. Said to the girls, is my Ollie and Ollie King? And he looked at me blankly for a minute and said, no, he's on his way in an ambulance. So I said, I'll go and wait outside. So I went and waited outside. About 45 minutes later, I hear the sirens. And I'm going, be a police car. Don't be our Ollie coming in here on a blue light. But sadly for us, it was Arnold. But when they hit the car park, everything went into slow motion. They're going forwards, they're going backwards, they're going sideways, they're trying to get a perfect parking. Once they're just coming in, throwing the anchors on and getting them out. And I'm banging on the side of the ambulance, get him out. And I knew he was dead because of the way he was. But they worked on him tirelessly for seemed an eternity, but it was about 3 hours. And we lost him. And they were going on about the CPR and the blood and the oxygen to the brain and he'd been out so long. And I was just like, look, just get him breathing, put him back in my arms, and I'll do the rest. But it wasn't to be. So this is all about him. Well done.
Mark, it's an incredible thing that you do, you know, to find this after, you know, such an emotional toil to go out, but knowing that you're saving lives now, you know, it's just a remarkable thing. Your family should be so proud of it. You know?
We are, yeah, and like, you know, the people that we've met along the way, like you guys who spend the time and say, come in and have a chat to us, and we get it out there and give you some support. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I know you're rushing me off now. I'm here all day, you know.
I've probably sandwiches.
What are we going to? It was like, you know, there's so many stories. I mean, but the story that touches me is obviously Woody getting his defib. And I have a garage in Old Swan selling cars. And we go to the post office one day, and Anne, the postmistress there, is lovely. I'm going into a taxi car, and there was an old woman in front of me, about 80 odd, and she's looking at me and says, are you all right, honey? She goes, you're that defib man, aren't you? And I went, yeah. I said, yeah, and I was chatting away to her, and then we both done our business, and I said to her, take care of yourself, I'll see you soon, and got off. Next day up, getting another road tax, and Anne called me over. She said, Mark, the woman you were talking to yesterday, she's left you her pension as a donation to the foundation. I'm going, nah, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. I'm not taking my pension as money like that. So give us an address. She said, I can't. Well, if I'm going away from the counter and you read what's on the counter, then I said, okay, sound. Into the address, goes next door to the florist's, bought her a big bouquet of flowers, out of the pension money, obviously. Went round to the house, knocks on the door, and I had the flowers in front of my face. So she opens the door, she goes, oh! I said, well, I just lowered them down. I said, it's the defib money here. What are you like, leaving the pension? Doesn't happen. Thank you, but you need it more than us. So come in and have a cup of tea, son. So I went to go in and sit down and have them custard creams and that. So we had a chat. I said, look, I've got to get off. She said, okay, sound. I said, look, you know where I am. Here's my phone number. Anything you need, phone me. So she said, okay. Then she goes, well, you've got to have something out of the pension. I said, no, I've had a cup of tea and a couple of custard creams. That's enough. No, she said, I need to give you something. I said, go on then. So she goes, 40 quid. I said, no, I don't want 40 quid. I said, I'll take a fiver if that makes you happy. So she goes, a fiver? What can you get with a fiver? I said, well, I don't know, but it all goes in the pot. And the pot will grow. So she went, I'll tell you what I'll do with you. You're the gambling man? I went, yeah. She said, toss the coin? I said, love toss the coin. So she goes, I'll toss you a fiver or 40. I said, okay. I said, I'll toss. She said, wait till I get my glasses. I said, do you want heads or tails? Now she's putting the glasses on, I flicked it. Heads or tails? So she went, heads, and it was tails. I went, heads, you've won. Just give us that fiver. You know what I mean? I'm off. And that's the way we are, you know. And we go down and do presentations, and when we get this building, that'll be next level when we're bringing the kids in. But again, when you have a cardiac arrest and you get your defib in, or your pacemaker, it's the mental health that comes in.
That's it.
Because you think to yourself, oh, if that happens again, I might not be that lucky. So you're under the hospital for so long, then you get your exercise plan and your diet sheet, and then you go home, you get your dodgy stick on, watching all these films and that, and the footy. You don't go out. So we've been knocking on, and we won't get in. Come to the centre, we'll have cardio nurses there. You go on and walking machines. This is a one-way ticket for us all. We're not getting a second chance. I'm going to take them in. I'm going to have the cardio rooms for them. So a mate of mine, he lost his son. Steve Hoare is his name. And he went doing ECG testing. But when you start this, you want to go bam, bam, but you can't. When I first lost that, I was on the phone to all the defib manufacturers, 50, 50, have you got money? 50, just ordering them. And Dave Woods, who's my solicitor and the chairman of the Luton Football Club, phoned me and said, Mark, look, 2 ways this is going to go, but you're going to end up definitely in jail. Because there's just about 500 defibs landing here. You know what I mean? And I was just handing them out. And then he said, no, I know what you were trying to do, but we need structure. Otherwise you won't last 2 minutes. And you know what? He was dead right. He was dead right. And we got the structure in. And we'll not give a defib unless there's at least 12 people. People phone me up and go, just sell us a defib. No. Training. Comes as a package. Don't bother.
Incredible. Thank you so much for being a guest.
See, I told you we were trying to get the meeting, man.
Well,
before we get another story on we talk
we keep you here all day, but obviously we want to keep you here all day. So I just want to plug the website for everyone who's listening as well. So www.theoliverkingfoundation.co.uk. And info at on our email is info at the Oliver King Foundation. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Instagram. So
follow. I can't work them.
So check the Oliver King Foundation on all the social media. But if you want to go on the website and say get in touch via email, if there's anything you can do in terms of fundraising. So we've just heard, £1,100 to save a life is pennies, and especially for organisations and businesses out there. So
it's like working out. You have an 8-year guarantee, 32 pence a day.
32 pence a day. And it's an even better way of looking at it, isn't it? Thank you for being such an amazing guest. Honestly, amazing. And
it's been my pleasure.
Carry on doing what you do. It's so inspirational, and we're going to be huge supporters of yourself and the work now.
I mean, as I keep saying, we don't have any reverse gear. We just plough on. And what we do is, we don't have a negative meeting. If we have a meeting, we just take the positives out of it, because you can be trying and looking at the bigger picture too much. Oh, he said this and he said that, so we got on him tomorrow and push him, and that's how we work.
We'll keep up that good fight. Incredible. Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for giving me the time today. Thank you.
We can all play a role in suicide prevention. Spotting the signs and starting a conversation with someone you're worried about can feel daunting.
But free online training from the Zero Suicide Alliance could help you gain the skills and confidence to have a potentially life-saving conversation.
It takes just 30 minutes and you never know when you might need to use it.
Be prepared. Take the training today. Visit zerosuicidealliance.com or search ZSA Suicide Awareness Training, because one life lost is one too many.
Thanks for listening to The Man Hug. Please make sure that you come and follow us on Instagram. It's @The Man Hug. You can also do a search for us on TikTok and YouTube.